Hello, everybody. Frank Kenny here. Thank you so much for joining us for AI for Small Business. Hello, Norma Davey. You're muted, Norma.
Hello, Frank. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Awesome. I am super excited to be here to share some of this AI training for small business with you guys today. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining us. This is going to be fun.
I am seeing people from all over the US and Canada, from around the world. So please put into the chat area where you're joining us from, what business you have. And it's so great to see all these people. What are you laughing about, Norma?
I was clearing my throat, me, me,
Oh,
me,
I
me.
know it is. You need one of those buttons that's like a cough button that radio people have.
Absolutely. That would have been funny.
So we have California, Minnesota, Sherman, Texas, Wyoming, New York, Texas again, Indiana. We have hundreds and hundreds of chamber members on. So thank you all so very much for signing up for this. We're excited to bring you just a ton of value today. How about we jump into self introductions, Norma?
Oh, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right. And again, please put in the chat area who you are, where you're watching from. I'm a former small business owner. I've been basically self employed almost my entire life, except for a stint at the Chamber of Commerce where I was president, CEO. While there, one of our things was this is 2008, brought to the board the idea of doing social media. You know, we should have a Facebook and do Twitter and LinkedIn and all of this kind of stuff. They hated the idea. They just threw the idea out saying it's too risky, it's a fad, it'll never work, our members will fight publicly. You know, they just had every excuse not to kind of innovate or take a chance, take a risk. And luckily, my chair of the board said, you know what, we're going to have to evolve as an organization. We're going to have to use what's, new and modern. Let's try it. So he convinced them to try it. And within 18 months, we doubled the membership of that 45-year-old chamber. And that put me on the map to teach and speak and help chambers with social media and digital marketing. So, and now AI has become, it's kind of been a natural transition to help them with that. So we help the members, we help the chambers with AI. Norma, do you want to do your self introduction?
Absolutely. So I am Norma Davey, and I have been a small business owner since I was 9 years old when I took over my brother's paper route for a rural newspaper. And through that, I learned the importance and the power of making relationships and connecting with people and how to get the sale with asking the right questions. And so that really helped launch me into several different small businesses through my teenage years and my young adult life and my adult life. I mean, I've had convenience store business. I've done beauty product business. I've done a lot of different things that have helped me be able to understand the importance of marketing as well as relationship building, which I feel is kind of connected, but we won't go into that today. I was hired as a chief operating officer at a mid-sized chamber in Southwest Washington State. And while I was there, we were also an early adopter of social media. And through that, I was able to kind of take the stage to be teaching the members more about being online and social media and what it could do for their businesses, and also to help them with their marketing. I've spoke at several different state, national, international levels. I'm the co-founder of the Chamber Pros Online Conference with Frank. And then a couple claims to fame for my marketing and being able to help people see the power in it is back in my hometown of Washington, about 11 years ago, they came to me and said, we want to start something funny and we want to create something about the squirrels. And Longview, Washington, if you don't know, and I'm going to go really fast on this, in 1969, a squirrel bridge was built and it was in the National Registry of Unique Things, Guinness Book of World Records, all of that kind of thing. And they wanted to do a festival around the Squirrel Bridge. And so we came up with Longview Squirrel Fest, and we launched it without ever really knowing what we were doing. And it was because we did a lot of creative marketing and doing things that were outside of the box thinking, which is what AI can help you do. And we're going to kind of cover that a little bit today. But with that event, we had over 100,000 visitors come to our community that were not local. this is from New York, from Canada, southern states. And it was pretty amazing to see on a first year event. And it's continuing today, but that was kind of one of the claim to fames. And then I'm also an academy graduate from for the Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome stuff. And something interesting about Norma and I. Can you explain this slide here, Norma?
So if you haven't figured out yet, Frank and I are married. We didn't know each other when we were running our chambers early on, but we got together and we started realizing how much we had in common. And we loved the idea of being able to continue working with chambers, continue building businesses. And so we decided to start our own small business, again, being business owners, and we decided to travel. So 10 years ago, we bought an RV and we hit the road, and now we travel. We bring our grandson with us. You'll see him down in one of the pictures. We visit family. We've had Frank's mom with us. And I'm also a photographer, so I love the scenery everywhere that we go. And so as of right now, we are down in northern Orlando, Florida at the time presenting.
Yep, absolutely. And it's been fun. 10 years on the road full time. We sold the house and we just go chamber to chamber, state to state, working with the chambers, their members. It's been fun. So we get to see a lot of stuff, and we kind of try to stay cutting edge on all things technology wise for small business, because chambers are small businesses.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I want to mention
Okay.
too that because we travel, we have a small business, that we are walking your shoes as a small business owner. So what we're going to teach today and what we're going to cover today are things that we do to help our business, as well as also train chambers. So we're hoping that you'll get some fun nuggets from us.
I like what Isaac said. Frank and Norma are truly work from home. Truly are home wherever we park it.
That's
So
fun, Isaac. Thank you for that. That is true.
absolutely. And as you guys, you feel free to engage in that chat area. If you see somebody shares their business URL or their website, copy paste that, because the chat eventually goes away. But if you want to do business with each other, or you want to carry the conversation afterwards, we encourage that. All right,
Absolutely.
let's jump into this. AI for small business. We're going to focus on where AI is today. So not theory, not what might happen in the future. We're really going to focus on what it can do for you today. And the main uses of AI today is it can save you so much time. So a huge, and who in here could use some more time? Maybe put that in the chat area, more time. Or be more productive. Put that time to use to be more productive, get more done, or take more time off. And the final thing is that it's increasing the creativity of people dramatically. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is helping you save time, be more productive, and increase your creativity. I want to kind of give you a little food for thought here as we jump into this. I've been around a while, and I remember back in the late 1990s, the dot-com era came around, and it was exciting. Anybody with a website that got a lot of traffic was just getting loads of money thrown at them. It was an exciting time. At that time, I was self-employed. My brother and I had a chain of art galleries. I was so busy that I really couldn't take advantage of this website thing that was just going nuts. I knew it was going nuts, but I was so busy. I just said, you know what? I just can't do it. I got to focus on employees and what we were doing. And that trend, that opportunity passed me by, our business by, because I was too busy. But I promised myself, if that ever happens again, where I see a massive trend, I'm going to take advantage of it. And then social media 10 years later comes along, and it's like I jumped in with both feet, and it doubled the size of the chamber, opened up this whole new career to help and teach others, let me and Norma kind of live our lifelong dream, because we took advantage of a trend. I think we were in the same position here with the artificial intelligence thing. This is a massive, massive opportunity. It's a bit scary. We don't know what the future holds, but just watching from the sidelines is not going to be a good option. What do you think, Norma? Kind of caught you reading there.
You have a knack for catching me when I
We have somebody saying that they're not seeing us or hearing us. For those of you watching, put in the chat area, can you still see and hear us? Norma, you might have to go out and come back in. Can you see and hear me, everybody? Darn technology here, and here we are. Good now. Okay. Yeah, we lost you there for a second. Norma, what did you say? Just rephrase it real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay, so it says that they weren't sure they could hear me. So let's see if this is the accurate time now to where they can actually hear me.
Can you guys see and hear
Testing,
Norma?
testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing.
Okay, you bounced out. I think you're good, Norma. If what were you saying about that last slide? You're back in, Norma. You're fine.
Okay. So I was saying that, yes, AI is absolutely critical in this next phase of movement, if you will, in where we're going with technology and how to use it for business. And I think that this is a great time where it's still in the beginning phases for us to dabble, learn it, make the mistakes with everybody else so that we can continue to move forward using these tools to be in a better place, say in, technology is moving so fast. Normally would say in the next 5 years, but it could be the next 5 months or the next five
Yeah.
weeks. It just depends on how quick it's all going. But it really, honestly, we've been doing AI for about a year and a half now, and I am blown away of where it is now to where it was a year and a half ago when we first started dabbling in AI. So I am really shocked at how fast it's going.
And here's a couple more thoughts here. Jack Welch back in the day said, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. And this applies to people's careers or their businesses. So you're probably going to have people on your team that they're going to be on the outside, kind of looking in, waiting and seeing. If you can encourage them to, every day we don't change, when the world changes, we fall a step behind. And sometimes it's so far behind, it's hard to catch up. So, and then one final kind of thing I want to cover here is when ChatGPT just came out 18 months ago, going on 2 years almost now, it could pass the bar exam, and people were like, yeah, so it barely passes the bar exam. But now it's like 90%. It's passing better than 90% of the attorneys passing the bar. That's kind of scary if you're an attorney. Not if you're an attorney that's using ChatGPT or these other social media or LLMs, the AI platforms. But if you're just waiting and seeing, this could be scary depending on your career. And then creativity wise, a lot of people said, well, it'll never do what I do because I'm creative. But now these things are quite creative. Pew Research came out with this thing that's on the right hand side that says, if you're a barber or a firefighter, you're going to be okay. But if you're doing any kind of knowledge work, you're going to have to adapt and start using these tools so that you don't get kind of left behind. So, Norma, do you want to kind of kick off kind of some of these best practices?
Absolutely. I also want to mention in the chat, be sure to be asking your questions because we want to make sure that we're also answering kind of what you're looking for. And we may not touch base because we're trying to keep this particular training at a more, not necessarily a basic level, because there's going to be nuggets for no matter what level you're in, but there may be specific things you're looking for that maybe we aren't answering in this one, but we are looking at wanting to do a second one. So those questions are super helpful for us. So be sure to be putting those in the chats for us also. All right. So one of the things that we talked about a lot with AI was stick to one tool, because if you start bouncing from this tool to this tool to this tool to this tool, it's going to get confusing and you're not going to remember which one was it that I was working on that gave me this answer that I really liked. And oh my gosh, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So when you're learning, try to stick to one tool that does the one thing, because it's just going to be a lot easier. Now, I'm going to change my mind on that a little bit as we talk about graphics, but you'll understand as we go along. But as you're doing some of this content creation and getting it to answer questions, try really hard to focus on one tool in the beginning.
And the graphic on the right there is the Chat GPT interface. So that's where you put the prompts in. We'll be talking about today. If you haven't, experimented yet, just go in there, and it's real simple. And my point will be just to begin play with it, experiment. You're not going to break it. It takes a lot of kind of tries in order to wrap your mind around how to use these tools. So don't wait till you got it all figured out. Get in there like every chance you get, just play with it. Norma?
Absolutely. So I and Frank recommend buying the tools that you're going to use. They're not super expensive, they're low cost, but they are well worth it in the long run for saving you a lot of frustration. And your results are a little bit better, and you have a little more access to some of the deeper tools that are within those platforms. So I like to explain it as looking as these are your tools that you use to get a project done. So let's say you're going to hang a picture frame and you're going to use a rock to pound the nail. Well, you're not going to be able to see what you're doing. So you'd probably use a hammer. Well, the hammer would be the better tool because you're going to get the job done faster, easier, and it's going to look better. And GPTs or AIs are the same way. You can do them using some of the free services, but they are not as powerful as some of the paid versions. And a lot of them will do a cap. So let's say you're in the middle of a project and all of a sudden it says, oh, sorry, you've reached your cap. You can't get access again until like 8 o'clock tonight. And you really kind of needed answers right now. So those are some things to think about. But I definitely recommend spending the money on the tools.
We've gotten a couple questions around the availability of the recording and the PowerPoint. And yeah, the same link that brought you to the live will take you to the recording and you'll have access to that. And then at the end, we're going to share a link to give you the handouts and things of that nature. And that includes the PowerPoint. So I recommend finding a single use case rather than trying to get this entire big old thing figured out of how you're going to transform your business all at once. Just find a single thing that you use AI for constantly because it just saves you a ton of time or makes you more productive or makes you more creative. Just find one use case and then you'll find another and then another. And then eventually I'm to the point to where I can't live without it, really. I'd pay $100 a month or maybe even more. Don't tell them. So.
That's funny. So again, it's really easy to use. You can go in, you can see where the prompt is that you're going to put things. We're going to talk to you how to do these things. But one of the fun things that I love to be able to use AI for is being able to treat it like my intern. You know, this intern can do anything I want it to do, but it definitely can help save me time without having to do the research, without having to look things up. And we're going to cover this a little bit more on how we've used it, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas. But this is your smart intern. You're not paying extra salary. You're not having to give them time off. They're available 24/7 for you. I mean, use them for what they're there for. Don't be like, oh, I should probably go in there and check it out. No, we use it all the time, every day, just like Frank said. I mean, it's incredible.
Have conversations with these tools. I don't know if you've used it very much, but you might find yourself saying please and thank you. Does anybody do that? Put that in the chat area. Do you kind of get a response and go, oh, thank you so much? And it's like, oh, I forgot you were ChatGPT.
Well, and what's fun is the responses it gives you back. So that's always kind of fun to do because it blows your mind. It's like, wait a minute.
It's super polite. And then if you can build really long threads with these things. So don't think it's just a one-off and then you move on. You can have threads where it's back and forth. You've been having a discussion with your ChatGPT for endlessly, really. I've got some that are super, super long that I just keep going back to again and again and again. And the comments are funny, Norma, about people that are having
I'm reading that.
conversations.
So it's fun. But the other thing, back to the best practices, because I know we do have a time limit that we're in here.
Sure.
It's really critical to remember that, yeah, it can give you a lot of great information, but double check the work. Don't just copy out a GPT and put over into your press release without double checking what it's saying. And we'll give you reasons why later, but that is absolutely critical to make sure you're double checking exactly what it's written, because remember, it's only creating one word at a time as it's giving you the answers, and sometimes it gets a little mixed up. It's not perfect, but it's amazing.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. And again, our idea today is just to help you find use cases so that it just saves you time, makes you more productive, makes you more creative. And so I'm going to go through quite a few, or Norma and I are going to go through quite a few of these. One is I want to share kind of my epiphany story where I said to myself, oh my God, I can't live without this tool. Was I had to do a huge survey for the chamber industry. We've done it every year for many years. When I get all the data back, it's a daunting problem project to where I have to sit down and now turn all that data into insights. It's kind of like raw data, and I got to sit down, and it takes hours and hours and hours of going through open-ended questions, figuring out where this person said this and this person said that, and this person said what the prior person said, and looking for trends and looking for. This year, I just copy pasted all that gobbledygook that was just this huge response from the survey tool, and I just put it in a chat GPT. And within 30 seconds, I had like saved hours and hours of work. And it surfaced some things that I might have missed because I'd been doing it for so long that I might have glossed over. But it made me smarter. It saved time, made me more productive. But the key is to get the right prompt. If I would have just went in there with any old prompt, I might have got really bad results. And I've heard this from tons of people that said, "Oh, I tried it, it didn't work." Well, it comes down to the right prompt. So we created this prompting framework, and this thing is pretty darn bulletproof. The first step of the prompting framework is always give ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs a role, like you are an attorney or you are a CPA. In this case, I said you are a marketing and customer research expert. Then you give it a goal. You have to tell it, just like you would an intern, what the goal is. Give it a goal. And then for this one, it was compile these survey results into 10 main themes. Pretty straightforward. And then set restrictions, very important. So here I said, make it easy to understand. You can make it like so a 7-year-old would understand it. You can tell it, or make it PhD level. It's smart enough to put it in the restrictions that you want. And then format. I told it, put the results in a numbered format. You can do bullets, you can do paragraphs. You tell it what you want. And if you're just clear about what you really want from it, it will do that for you. So that's what I have here is you can, and again, we're going to give you the slides. We're going to give you handouts. There's going to be a prompting framework. And I lost Norma there for a second. She'll be back. If you guys can still hear me, I would love to just get the confirmation there in the chat area. And there's tons of comments. So how did you give it the survey results? I just copy pasted it out of SurveyMonkey, I think, or it might have been Google Forms, their survey tool, but it was just a mess of just, I didn't clean it up at all. I just copy pasted it, and it just worked like gangbusters. Norma, I'm going to move on to the next one. I think, Norma, can you test your sound? I want to make sure we can hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. I am back. I hope that is one of the challenges with traveling from the road is internet and making sure that it is just as strong as can be. And we tested everything and we thought it was great, but some of those little gremlins creep in. So great. Thank you guys letting me know you can hear me.
Awesome. Here's another use case that has just saved me so much time and made me understand that I cannot live without these things. You can upload stuff into ChatGPT, such as images or spreadsheets. Here, I just took my Google Analytics website data. I know a little bit about SEO, but I don't know enough to really know what to do with all this data. And so I uploaded it in there. I gave it the same kind of prompt of, you are a search engine optimization expert. This is absolutely critical every time you tell it what its expertise is. And then I gave it the goal. You are working with a small business to optimize their website traffic. Mine was the small business. Analyze the data and the attached traffic acquisition report and make recommendations. And boom, within 30 seconds, it was just so helpful in telling me that I need to focus more on this and less on that. And this number is concerning. And this is an area to where it's a strength. So you should do more of this. Hugely helpful. And if you're got any spreadsheets or numbers and you're kind of like, what does this mean? Take a photo of it or upload the actual thing in ChatGPT, and it will help you gain insights, which is that's what we want from data. Norma, did you want to say anything about that?
I do, because all small businesses have usually anyway, have a website, and there's always data on that website, and you can definitely look through the data and you can do a screen grab of it. You can do a photo shot of it. You can take that and go over to GPT and say, look, I don't even understand what this is telling me. Can you tell me even if my website is reaching anybody? Maybe can you make suggestions by looking through the page, give it the web link and say, can you look through my website and tell me, what do I need to do to optimize this? Or how can I make my blog posts better? Or, you can use it to better your business that you're already running right now. And sometimes you only need to make minimal changes to things to make them even better. But it just helps so much when you're a small business or a business with just, low staff, that it just helps save that time to be able to get some of those things done that are daunting, that you would love to be able to go and do, but you just don't have the expertise. Like Frank was saying with SEO and stuff, that isn't our expertise at all. And so it was really helpful to be able to do this, to understand the knowledge that we were coming across.
Here's a question. What do you mean you tell chat what is an expert in? If you're working like on recipes for what to make for dinner, you would tell ChatGPT in the prompt that you are a chef or something to that effect because you're making dinner. If you're working on a accounting problem, you tell it you are a CPA or you are a financial analyst. And what happens is when you tell ChatGPT who it should act as, your responses to it are infinitely better than if you just walk into it blind and say, what should I have for dinner? It just always tell it, you act as a whatever it is you're working on.
So Frank, we have a question here about the privacy of AI. And can you cover that just a little bit?
Well, back in the day, everything that was added into the AI was added to the library. And they knew that was a problem because a lot of companies wouldn't allow their proprietary, stuff to be uploaded. Now there's a box on ChatGPT under the paid version that says, "Do not add what I put in here into your library." And so they know that that's a concern, and they've got a workaround for that now. I still would not upload something if you sign a non-disclosure agreement or something is absolutely private. I wouldn't. We're not there yet in my trustworthiness, anyways.
Yeah. So Mac is also mentioning, you have to have your own private LLM, and I'll let Frank explain what that is in order to do the privating. And I'm not sure that's 100% true when you're doing the don't share the data. But again, I would be very secure. I would be very nervous about sharing too much private stuff.
Very good. And I can tell that people are chiming in. We have attorneys chiming in, obviously very smart technical people chiming in. I love that.
That's
ask
great.
each other
Thank
your
you.
questions. All right, we're going to have to move on because we only have 90 minutes today and it's going fast. Another use case that I have found just amazing is brainstorming. I remember watching Mad Men back in the day on TV. Maybe you saw it. It was all about the advertising industry. And I remember this one scene where the copywriter, this lady got elevated to copywriter status, which was huge. And she got her own assistant, a person that she set off to a room that I need 50 headlines for whatever the brand was. And I had this epiphany to where it's not when you're working on knowledge stuff, creativity stuff, it's not that you're genius level, it's hard work no matter what. And so even though she had climbed the ranks, she still set off her intern to write, give me 50 examples of headlines I could use for this. And it's the same with ChatGPT now, or the different AIs. You can ask it to do, give me 25 subject lines for my email, or give me 25 different things I can post to social media for X. And it helps you be creative. It helps you brainstorm. And you choose a little bit of one and a little bit of the other. Norma, do you want to chime in on that?
Absolutely. So my favorite thing about GPT is to be able to be conversational with whatever I'm asking it. And what that means is, so like Frank has put in this prompt, and then it'll give you results, and you read through the results, and maybe you realize, oh, I didn't give it quite exactly what I was thinking. You can go right into that same thread, keep it right in the same thread. You don't have to go out of it to start something new. And you can say, oh, yeah, I forgot to give you this to go with that. What do you suggest now? Or ask it whatever results you're looking for, and it'll give you new stuff. And then, like Frank mentioned, and you can do this a lot through there. I've used this a lot, and I'll explain that a little bit more down the road, but you can use it to do that. But the other thing that Frank mentioned is when it gives you results, much like I said about check the work earlier on, You don't have to use every single thing word for word that it gives you. You can take like a piece of this sentence and a piece of this sentence, or this idea with this idea, and then you can even put it back in that same thread and say, well, I really like these two combined. What do you think? Or is this still as strong as what you suggested? And it'll tell you. I mean, it's pretty amazing to be able to brainstorm and have this conversation with this intern that is at your fingertips. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very smart intern too, like college educated smart. Here's another thing: is we all know as small business people that we should be creating content. We should have a blog. We should be putting out articles on social media. We should be, doing stuff that shows our expertise or that attracts people to come to us for business, for work, for leads. But who has the time? Now, I have 3 articles a week that I have to produce, and what I do is I'll draft it myself, but just a rough draft, something pretty darn. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's my thoughts, it's my angle, it's where I see the world, what I bring to the table. But then I give it into ChatGPT and I give it a prompt that has it kind of write it in full, and I still have to go back in and do some editing and like some final touch-ups. But every time I do this, it saves at least half an hour, if not more. So here's the prompt: you are a professional business writer. So again, every time, tell it to act as something. You are a professional business writer. You're helping me write an article for our newsletter. Here's the rough draft. So copy paste your rough draft, make it about 5 paragraphs, and then interestingly or importantly is write it in my style. Can you talk about that, Norma?
Absolutely. So the more you use GPT, the more it understands your style. The challenge with Frank and I, we use the same GPT. And so I try really hard when I'm looking to do content to not confuse the algorithm a little bit, but it will learn your voice, your style. I'm going to throw somebody under the bus in a good way, but I notice on the thread there's a Lisa Farkerson. She's from the Dalles, Oregon Chamber. And one of her stories that she shared with us is she was trying to do an awards ceremony that they've done for like the last 5 years or so. And she's the one that always writes the awards speech to those that are getting the awards. And she decided to go back over the last 5 years with each award and pull it and put it into GPT and say, okay, now I need you to write it for this winner. And this is their business. This is about them, but write it in my style. And I don't remember the timeline. And Lisa, if you can chime in the chats, that would be great, on how long it actually only took you to do this, or how much time it saved you to do it this way. But she was blown away. I remember her telling me the story, and her eyes were like big as saucers, and how she couldn't believe as she was reading this from GPT that it was just like as if she had sat down and wrote it and spent hours doing it. So it was just such a mind-blowing experience with something that she's done every year. Oh, she says
Yeah.
it saved me 40 hours. I mean, that's
How
40
about
hours.
that?
I mean, I was blown away when she shared that story. So I wanted to make sure to mention that, because I just thought that was such a neat
Yeah.
practical use way that somebody used it in something they've always done and was able to save so much time.
Yeah. And really importantly, there, you can upload your past articles, the things you've written in the past. It allows you to upload almost unlimited amounts nowadays. And so by doing that and by giving it examples, by giving it context, it really helps ChatGPT do exactly what you want it to do. Let's kind of move on here. Press releases, grant applications, other things that you don't do all the time, but maybe you need to because you have something big. You're going to send a press release, or you've just heard that the chamber and the city or whatever is coming up with this new small business grant, and now you got to do something that's out of your comfort zone. Well, go into ChatGPT with these things, upload the PDF of what the grant application is, or tell, like in the prompt here in this case would be, the prompt would be, you are a public relations professional with expertise on press releases. ChatGPT will know exactly what that is. And then is you are helping me write a press release for our grand opening or our sale or whatever it happens to be. Make it very interesting so that it's likely to get press attention. These things, these models have read every book imaginable, every piece of data in the world that's available for them to consume about writing press releases, it's read them. And it's just kind of freaky to think about, but it's run out of data to read. It's read everything. And so it's going to write a better press release than you probably ever could, unless you're a professional press release writer or a professional grant writer. And then even then, these tools make you more productive and better. But it takes somebody with no skill whatsoever at writing press releases into writing something that will be almost bulletproof. You still want to double check it, but it's going to be really good. What were you going to say, Norma?
I was agreeing 100% to rely on the expertise, but don't forget again, I know we've hammered this home a little bit, but be sure to check the work and also make sure it really is your own. Like if you're doing a press release, maybe it missed something personal to put in there or to add in there, and that's okay. But think of the time that it's saving when you're staring at a blank screen. And I used to do our newsletter back at our chamber, and I can tell you, I would spend half of my time writing the article with just a blank screen in front of me going, what am I going to write about? And so it can help you get past that blank screen, but definitely go back in and tweak it, make it your own, give it that personal touch. It's really important.
Good. For those of you watching, I'd just love to know, are you getting some ideas here, some tidbits? Go ahead and share in the chat of a way you're currently using these tools, or you will try, how you're going to experiment, what you're going to play with, because there's just so many different things as a small business owner that you can do to save time, be more productive, be more creative. Here's another one, is the copywriting or writing salesmanship type things, or marketing or advertising, things that need to be persuasive. There are like 100 years of history of how to write great copy that makes people take action to buy stuff. And it's, unless you're a professional copywriter, you don't really know all these things that have been proven over the last 100 years. I mean, it's a real art form to write persuasive, converting ad copy or sales copy or radio scripts or all this kind of stuff. But now you just put your stuff, your details into these tools, and it will help you. Just, unless you're already a professional copywriter, or even if you are, it just makes you better. So here's the prompt. You are a professional copywriter with experience writing high converting sales pages, or it could have been high converting emails or high converting newspaper ads, whatever it happens to be. Write me a sales page for our new offer. And of course, you're going to have to upload the details. Use scarcity and fear of missing out, and use a strong call to action. And Norma, you were going to mention here, yeah, but what if it's too strong?
So Frank and I have a different style of asking for the sale, which is fine because it just helps us to reach, different audiences and different things. But a lot of times I will go in and say, I'll be asking it to do a sales pitch, and sometimes it is like really strong, like, whoa, hold the horses. Let's just not piss them off at the beginning. So I'll ask it, hey, this is great, but I really don't want to come on that strong. I'd really like you to tone this down because this isn't really an intense sale. I just want them to know it's available to purchase. And it'll go, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me try again. And it'll give me something else. And so you can tweak it to get it to what you really is your style. And it's really kind of fun to do. And sometimes I'm being able to get it to back off or to do a little bit more firm.
And it will remember, because, as you have a conversation, every once in a while, it'll pop up and say like memorizing or adding it to like our memory. And so it will learn your style, your voice, because some people are more aggressive in their marketing and that's their brand, and that's totally fine. And then other people are much more about, I don't want to come across as salesy or promotey or needy or anything. So the system will learn what your style is, and just don't give up on it. Just keep on going backwards and forwards, and you'll get what you want.
So I want to go back to that really fast. So let's say you have different products that you market that may be, more, you need to do a fear of missing out type sale, or the other one is just more, hey, this product is here to do XYZ, and it's just more an informative. After a while, GPT will also learn the difference of your products as well. So you can say, hey, I want to work on doing a new sales piece for this product. And it's going to know, oh, well, we aren't very pushy on this one. So we're going to, it'll kind of remember all of that. It blows my mind because I can't even remember what I had for breakfast, but that's okay.
It's fun. Another thing that we have learned and used it for repeatedly again and again and again is when we have a question about something. And sometimes it's a work-related question, and sometimes it's just like here in the RV, we travel full time, things break down. And one time we walked into the RV and there was a really bad smell. And it was like, that's ammonia. What's that smell? Where could that be coming from? And so we went to ChatGPT and typed in, we're in an RV. Or I told it, act as an RV mechanic, always give it a roll. Act as an RV mechanic. We're smelling a bad smell of ammonia in the RV. Should we be concerned? And it came back with, yes, you're in a dangerous situation because it's coming out of your refrigerator and ammonia is poisonous. Get out of there. And it kind of saved us. Right, Norma?
No, it didn't kind of save us because here's Frank going, oh, it's not that bad. It's okay. It's fine. I'm like, no, we need an expert opinion. He goes into GPT and GPT says, yes, get the heck out of your RV. This is serious. So it saved our lives is what it did.
Yeah, and we've had it for tons of different things to where if you don't know an answer, like my example here is like, let's say that you're just thinking, you're doing your preliminary research on retirement plans for your small business. In the old days, you'd have to reach out to a financial advisor or a CPA or do a ton of research. And, now you can just go to the prompt would be, you are a CPA or act as a CPA and financial consultant. Explain in simple terms the difference between setting up a regular IRA, Roth IRA, simple 401k, and keep it easy to understand or make it so a 10-year-old would understand it. It will help you so much in just not having to always be beholden to reach out to the attorney for this and get a bill or the CPA and wait for a call back. Do your own research. It's really pretty amazing. But Norma, you wanted to mention double check your work again.
I sound like a broken record. I know I do, but it's so critical to not just take it and use it. It is just really important to make sure that it is exactly what you want to say and it really is from you.
Somebody's asking about how do you verify that? I think for us it kind of raises to the level of how critical is it, and how much does our common sense tell us that's spot on? If it was a very serious legal issue or a CPA level accounting kind of thing, I'd do my preliminary research so that I got a little bit of information, but I would definitely double check with a lawyer or a CPA on something that's absolutely critical. But if I'm just trying to wrap my mind around a topic, I'm really not ready to act on it yet, but I'm starting to do my research. This is just a no-brainer way to become much, much smarter on every topic that comes across your desk without having to rely on anybody else.
I think that's a good point, is you don't have to take it necessarily for exactly what it says, but it's enough to where you can go, okay, I need to get more information. Like Frank was saying, contact the attorney or wherever, your CPA or whoever, but at least it gets you in the right direction. Like us with the RV, we knew right then we needed to contact somebody to come take care of this. So, it helps with getting you to move into the next step.
Another thing is industry standards or best practices. How are things done? Why reinvent the wheel? This tool we use this tool all the time to kind of just help us, what's the best way to do X? I just had a recent thing where I had to fly to one chamber in one state, fly to another chamber in another state. There was all sorts of travel expenses involved and different airports, different hotel rooms. And it was kind of like, how am I supposed to divvy up all this expense versus the two clients and I just didn't want to do 50-50. It didn't feel right. And so I was just able to do a prompt like this. You're an experienced business consultant. You're working with two clients, yada, yada, multiple flights, multiple cars. What's the standard way? And it just spelled out how, it's not absolutely the only way to do it, but it knew the standard for the industry because it just knows stuff, which is kind of scary to think about. Norma, you use this for your graphic design side of the business, right?
I did. So I work with clients sometimes on one-on-ones, and I had a question come across through a third party for the client saying that they wanted access to my design files. And I was like, it's been a long time since I've really worked in the design contract side of it field. And I just want to kind of make sure what I'm thinking is legitimate. And so I went into GPT and I said, you are a graphic designer and you are working with a client and you have set up the contract to where the final product is delivered in this type of format. Is it okay for the client or a third party to come back and ask for the design work? And now, if you're a graphic designer, you know that that's kind of your you own it. It doesn't mean you're going to go use it, but you own that and you give them the delivered product. And so I was really hesitant to just say, oh, sure, here's my designs. You go on ahead, change it, do whatever you want. And so I went into GPT and I just asked it these questions, and it came back with pretty much what I kind of knew, but I just wasn't quite sure because it'd been a while since I'd been confronted with something like that. And it came back and said, absolutely not. You do not give your design files if the contract states that you delivered in this finished product. If you have delivered it in this product, you have match the contract. And so then I asked it in that thread, because it's conversational, okay, so how do I reply back to the client where it's very polite? Because I didn't want to be like, no. So you have to be really careful on making sure everybody's happy. So I said, how do I reply back politely to explain the situation? And then what remedies can I offer if they need changes to the file? And so it helped me work through that, and it kept the client happy, and we were able to come to a final agreement and do some changes for the client. So it was just a great way to be able to do that and have that resource at my fingertips.
Has anybody else done that, to where it's like, I've written an email and it's a little uncomfortable situation. Maybe I could use a little more tact here. ChatGPT, help me rewrite this email, or help me, how should I respond to this in a very professional way? Super helpful there. Before you regret sending something, it will give you good feedback. There's
Absolutely.
All sorts of questions popping in.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
try
trying
to
to keep up with them. That's amazing.
And like bigger picture, big, a lot of these things are kind of like one-offs, little projects. But what if you have a full marketing campaign that has a lot of moving pieces? We did this recently with Small Business Season. Norma, can you explain like the full marketing campaign concept?
So 4 years ago, we created a program called Small Business Season, and we offered it to chambers to be able to help promote and encourage and educate keeping the dollars local in the community. And some of you have signed up for that this year, and I really thank you for that. But this year, I decided, okay, I've done it for 3 years. I kind of know it inside and out, but I want to make sure that we're doing the right things, we're delivering the right products, we're meeting the needs. And so I took all of the marketing strategies and everything that I had written before, and I'd handwritten all of those, the marketing plan, everything, and put it into GPT. And we actually created a Small Business Season GPT for us to be able to help make sure that we're doing the right things. And I had it look at all of the marketing. I had it rewrite the marketing plan for me. And I was really happy to see there wasn't a lot of changes, but it cleaned up a lot of things for me. And that was super, super great to do. And so that's a great way to use it for an existing product or a new product. So that was kind of a great way to utilize it for a marketing campaign.
Yeah, and it knows all the channels. You just got to give it your details, and it will really help you really think through a complete marketing campaign, which is a massive undertaking. Just a couple quick things here before we move on to the next section. You can put, if you have ChatGPT mobile app on your phone, you can take photos with it. And if you take a photo of, say, your refrigerator, you can say, you are a chef. Here's a photo of what's in our refrigerator. Create me a recipe that I can cook for tonight that will be healthy or easy to fix or whatever. And it can read, it can tell what you have. I did this for my liquor cabinet. I said, I want to try something new and different. What can I make? And it just spilled out all sorts of different recipes and asked me, do you have tonic water? If so, you can also make XYZ. I mean, it's pretty darn amazing.
Okay, I want to clarify
So,
that was a GPT image that he used also, and not our fridge.
yeah, that's not our fridge, but it created the image for us. Uh, and then now, also on your phone, is this voice tool. It sounds like a human, and you can talk to it. It will listen to you. It'll reply. You reply. It replies. Has anybody done this yet with their voice assistant? It is amazing. You can be on a 20-minute drive, having a chat with your voice assistant, brainstorming, researching. It is kind of mind-boggling and a bit scary. So, has anybody tried the voice thing through ChatGPT? It is pretty amazing.
So we're
Uh,
segueing a little bit in the chat, so I got to just throw this in. So when you're talking about food and stuff, it'll actually do meal planning for you, and it'll also create the grocery list for you of what you need for the meal planning for the week. So if you guys ever need help with that, it will do that.
Isaac says he's done it for his family
I
of
see
six.
that.
That's awesome. So many tools. All right. Let's move on to the next segment here. And this is text to image. It's your turn, Norma.
Oh, I love text to image. So, there's been some questions in the chat early on about how do we do graphics and whatnot, and I want to cover that a little bit. There's some things that I want to go over to kind of help start this. So let's start with this. Do I have to have design skills? No. Do I need to be tech savvy enough to be able to get into the apps? Yes. Other than that, no. Copyright. I'm going to let Frank talk about the copyright because I've seen some questions in the thread about that also.
Well, the latest information on copyright, and this is from the U.S. Copyright Office. There's all sorts of things in the court system, but the latest thing and the best practice in the industry is computers can't have copyrights. AI can't own a copyright. It was written by a machine. It's done by a machine. So if an image is created through AI, nobody can sue you for copyright infringement. It was created by AI. And the adverse or the opposite side of that is if you create, say, a logo for your business with AI, well, you don't own the copyright to that really. Somebody else could take your image or borrow from your image, and you wouldn't really have a leg to stand on because you don't own the copyright. It was done by AI. So there's a good thing in that any text any articles it writes, anything that's text based or any images, you don't have to worry about getting sued for copyright infringement. The opposite side of that is you don't own the copyright. So go ahead, Norma.
That's a great point with creating logos, and I'll try to touch base on that a little bit further down the slides. If I forget and you have questions on it, definitely be sure to put them in the thread. Is this time consuming or is it considered a waste of time? Probably yes on both in the beginning, because anytime you're learning something, you're going to have to invest some time to do it. As far as it being a waste of time, anytime you're learning something that's valuable, I don't necessarily view as a waste of time, but it's definitely important to be spending the time to be learning these tools so that you can advance and save time later on down the road with things that you're working on. Expensive. Again, you get what you pay for. I never used to be a pusher for buying the tools, but I've seen the difference in buying the GPT versus doing the free versions, buying the paid Canva versus the free Canva, those types of things. It's really critical to have the proper tools to be able to do the job that you want to have done. Just like I mentioned with the rock and the hammer, if you're a plumber, you're going to have wrenches. You're not going to just kind of makeshift with a couple sticks to get the piping to fit. It's just not going to happen. And so be thinking of these as tools and not just toys that you're playing with, although you can kind of fudge that line a little bit. But I think it's important to look at the paid versions. All right. So before AI, as a graphic designer, and even if you had hired a graphic designer or if you've worked with anybody that's done your website, I guarantee they have spent a lot of time looking through stock images after stock images after stock images, and also purchasing high-end images to be able to go on websites, to be able to go in ads, to be able to use legally. And this was all before AI. And I can tell you, as a graphic designer and the things that we do, I'm really thankful that I don't have to always go use a stock image. I do still access them from time to time, but not near as much as I used to. These are the 3 tools that I recommend right from the get-go for looking at for doing graphics with AI is Canva. If you're a Canva user, be sure to raise your hand and say you love Canva, because really it's an incredible tool inside itself. And they're doing Droptober right now, and I haven't even taken a look at what all the new stuff they're putting in. But it's a great, great tool. Midjourney is another one that I absolutely love and truly recommend, but I'm going to show you the difference. You don't have to get all 3 of these. These are just the ones I'm going to cover. And then again, GPT, if you're doing the paid version, you have more tools to like Dolly 3, which is, I'm going to show you the difference of these a little bit, the results difference. I'm not going to show you the tools themselves because that would just be too time consuming for this particular webinar. But I'm going to show you the difference. You can decide on your own. GPT, we've determined, is really one that you need to have for a lot of different reasons. So let's move forward. Awesome. All right. So in the use cases, AI image creation. So this particular image, oh, sorry, my phone's going off. So in this particular image, I used Canva and I used their text to image process, but you could do this on any of the 3 platforms. And then with Canva, I've just used it as a regular social media post. I've been able to take the image that was created and put it into a business social media post. This could be any business. We happen to work with chambers, so I do a lot of images for chambers. So this is going to be that, but this could be any type of business, any image. And I'm going to just explain what I did. So this prompt, again, could be used in Canva, could be used in Midjourney, and it could be used in GPT. It's a businesswoman sitting with coworkers, high five, happy and celebrating. You can see I didn't go into details. I didn't give it specifics, what colors I wanted or anything like that. I just wanted an image. And Canva sent it out, and I went, you know what, that's workable. I can create a social media image. It goes along with the message that I want to give, and I can put my business logo on it, and bada bing, bada boom. Frank, did you want to add anything to that?
Only that the prompt framework is for the text kind of responses that I use, my prompt framework. For images, Norma doesn't have to do that because it knows, like, you're a graphic designer, she's doing images with it, so it's obvious.
And you can, we'll explain that in a minute. I don't want to confuse it, but yeah, keeping it simple is not always a bad thing. Okay, so let's go on. I was just checking the questions. All right, so here's another case image. I wanted a 3D image of people because sometimes the AI generated people, you can look at it and immediately go, that's an AI image. And this one, even though it's 3D, it may or may not be AI. It could have been a graphic designer that created it. But I wanted something fun, something different. And I had something specific in mind. And so I gave it this prompt. And again, this one is in Midjourney. Again, you can see I didn't go into huge explanations of what I was looking for. I just wanted key components to it. And you can see, again, I just keep it very simple. Okay. AI use case is I wanted an image really celebrating and showing excitement. And again, all of these are created final in Canva using their templates. I've just plugged in our image and changed the words. I wanted to keep it as easy as possible. This is the prompt I did with the gal with the confetti. Again, I kept it simple. I need an image. This is in GPT. I said, I need an image. So in GPT, it's important that they know you're wanting to create an image. So I didn't give it you're a professional, blah, blah, blah. I just said, I need an image of a female small business owner with her team. They're gathered together and celebrating that they love their community. Now I'm going to go back and look at this because you can see right in the background, this banner this guy's holding up is I love my community. And so it did grab what I was saying there, which I thought was kind of cool, but still very simple. You don't have to have a lot of details to it. And it gives you an image that you're looking for. Okay.
Here's a question. How do you choose Midjourney? You just go to the Midjourney website, right?
Yes, you go to midjourney.com, I believe, and you sign up for it. I believe it's
10
19
bucks a month.
or 10 bucks. Is it 10 bucks a month?
I believe
Okay.
we pay 10. Yeah.
Okay. So we pay the minimal amount on all of these just because we want to make sure that they're affordable and that they can do the things we want them to do. I personally, I use all three of these. I don't have a preference as to which one because it depends on the results I get. And I'll use all three of them to check it out because I'm looking, you know, in my mind, I have a specific idea. And so I will use all three to come up with the ideas on this. Another use case, again, I used Canva templates, super easy. You go find a template, you change the words, you put in the image, add your logo. It's brutally simple for any business to be able to use. So I wanted a specific image, and I used GPT for this also as the final result. And I just said, I need an image of a small business owner in college, in a collage of faces, as though designed for an ad. Each are smiling. So I didn't say a Zoom because I think they all would have been the exact same size. And so because I said designed for an ad, you've got a prominent person in the front. So that really helped a lot in the results that I got. And so again, keeping it very simple, not too specific, because then that's where I think AI gets a little, here's a tech term for you, wonky. It just does. It just doesn't give you the clean results that you're looking for. So that helps a lot.
And let me just interject that I have zero graphic design skills. It is just my brain doesn't work that way. But rather than having to constantly rely on Norma, who's already busy and trying to get like an image that I need for a blog post or whatever, it's made me as a complete novice. I can create reasonably good images that are kind of good enough. Now, when we need something that's great, it has to be Norma, but it just frees me up from having to, like, if she's not around, but I can still get my work done. And it's been very, very helpful. And for me, I use ChatGPT. It's called Dolly 3, which is their image creation tool inside ChatGPT. And it just works.
And it does help a lot for us saving time also, because there's times when I'm not available to do images for his articles. And so he'll be able to use GPT and go in and do these simple prompts and come up with an image that goes really well with the article, quick and easy. So that's really nice to be able to have that as an option.
And somebody mentioned earlier that they're not editable, but they are now. You just you click the button in the upper right. It'll go full screen on the image. You kind of highlight the area that you want to change, give it a new prompt just for that area that you highlighted, and it'll edit it for you, which has made it to where if it misspells a word or something, rather than just say, well, it won't work, and just get rid of the word or have it redo it.
So this is not even part of this presentation, so this is just kind of a little bonus blip. But if you're a Canva user and you've downloaded an AI image, say from some other platform, and there's issues with the wording or there's a hand in the wrong place or something, if you upload that into Canva, they have an option now where you can click edit, and there's the magic erase option, which will go in and erase that area, or there's the magic edit, where if you want them to be holding a vase instead of whatever AI put in their hand, you can go in and do that. There are workarounds now with using Canva to be able to help change some of the results of the AI. It's not perfect, but it is helpful. So there's that. So here's another one that I did. Now, doesn't that look like a photo that somebody took? I mean, that I'm a photographer, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. And oh, I didn't have to sit on the water and freeze to take that picture. Yeah, that's beautiful. So I went in and used the AI tools. And I said, I went into GPT because that's the one that was working for me at the time. That was the one I was in. And so I said, create an image of a fireworks finale lighting up the night sky and reflecting over a body of water, because I wanted some details so it could understand the vision that I was seeing, that I wanted to have on the screen. The image should be realistic as those shot with a high-end camera. And the reason I choose high-end camera, because all photographers that you see the amazing photos and you see in the art galleries and stuff, they're shot with high-end cameras. So I wanted that kind of quality result. So, but I didn't know which camera. I just said a high-end camera. So that was in GPT. And that's what it gave me. And I was not quite what I had in mind, I guess. I mean, it kind of looked like it, but immediately it screams AI to me. And I didn't want, I'm kind of picky about, I want to use AI, but I don't want it to look like I used AI. You know, it's kind of a catch-22 on that one. So when you're in GPT and you're at your image, you've got your image pulled up in the right-hand corner is an icon with an eye in it. And if you click that, it's going to give you a prompt for that image. I didn't write this prompt. It wrote this prompt of what that image is. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I looked at the prompt, and if you'll notice at the bottom, it says, use a Nikon D850 DSLR, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, as a photographer, I understood everything it said. As Frank looked at it, he goes, I can tell that's a camera, but how did it even know? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to take this prompt that GPT just created, and I'm going to take it over to my Midjourney, and I'm going to see what happens. And so this is the difference between my GPT result and my Midjourney result, just using the prompt that GPT created from my simple prompt I gave it. It was magical to see the difference because it was exactly what I was looking for. So having these separate tools, sometimes you can get the results you want in one that you can't get in the other.
Good
So
stuff.
yeah. So
Sneaky. Deanna says sneaky. Yes.
it is a little sneaky. And those of you that know us and know Frank and I, you know, if you follow us on Facebook at all, you're going to see that we take photos a lot when we go on our hikes and different things. I mean, I'm shooting photos all the time, but I'm picky when I'm doing an AI image. I don't necessarily want it to look like I just went into AI and pulled this over for an ad or for my business. And so that's really critical, you know, depending on what you can have fun with AI, like the 3D images, you know, if that's your business model and that's your messaging for what you're wanting to do, that's a great way to do that. It just depends on what you want, but you can get AI to do it just by using your words to get it to form what you're looking for. So a couple more use cases, and then we'll, unless there's some questions that you saw that we need to answer.
But one person has said, how much is the Dolly 3 in addition to the Chat GPT? And at the paid $20 level of Chat GPT, you get Dolly 3. It's included. So it's nothing extra.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. Thank you for that, because we didn't clarify that. I appreciate that. All right, a couple more use cases. So this is a Canva image. I had done a presentation in the Dalles, Oregon, so it's top of mind. You can do different things with these images. You can be creative. You know, it doesn't always have to be about a social media post, which is the one in the middle. You can create it on artwork for t-shirts or other things that you're giving away, coffee mugs or whatever. This happens to be just an image of their gorge in sunset view, just in a fun, cartoony way. But it's a way that you can use these, not always just have to be in your newsletter or just have to be on your social media. Be creative on what you're looking to do for your business. This is another one as a business. Again, the gorge put onto a Canva template about a business. They could use that. If you didn't want those colors, you know, you might want to put into your prompt that you're kind of looking towards certain colors. If you have the hex codes, it can kind of do that. It's not quite there yet as perfect, but it's close. But you can see where it's just a simple business ad at this point. And this is another one where if you want to thank your customers, you could create an AI image, go into Canva, do a nice quick little thank you. It could be on a little business card if you want, or whatever that you're putting in with your orders. It could be an ad, anything. It's amazing that there's no limit as to what you can do with these if you just get kind of creative in your mind and think outside the box of how you can use an image to go with whatever you're looking to create. And AI is definitely a tool that is worth digging into. Brainstorming. This is something that we've talked about a little bit, and we talked about how we did the marketing plan and how we worked it into small business season to be able to make sure that our marketing materials that we're delivering to our clients are the best that they can be. But as a normal, average person, small business owner, I've been a small business owner where I've just been the owner and I've been the marketer and I've been the accountant and I've been everything, you know, all those hats that I wear. I'm not a, you know, you get overwhelmed. But if you have to, say, create an ad for social media or maybe an ad for the newsletter, you have a tool at your fingertips that can help you figure out, did I create the ad right? Is this persuasive? So let me explain that a little bit. So we had some t-shirts that we were going to sell, and I needed to create an ad to be able to post in our Facebook group to sell these t-shirts. But my brain was just fried on everything else that we were doing. I'm going to be honest with you on that one. And so I went into Canva. I found a template that I thought I wanted to work with. I put in a few things that I knew was going to need to be on there with the image of the t-shirt. And then I went into GPT and I gave it the prompt and saying, you know, you are a marketing ad expert because I am creating a marketing ad. And I asked it some questions. I gave it some information, and then I asked it some questions. And then I said, I've attached the start of the ad. So it knew this wasn't my final. I just wanted it to have an idea of what we were looking at creating. Okay. So then in the results, it gave me not even a big long thread. It gave me a couple little added suggestions. So I took everything that it gave me and I created the new ad. And I'll show you side by side. So the one on the left is the one that I said, you know, this is just the start. I have no idea where to begin. This is what I need. Can you help me? And it didn't create the image for me. That's always kind of, people have asked that. And it may get to that, but right now I kind of like that personal being able to make sure it's exactly what I want on the ads and the colors and everything else. So I took everything it suggested and played with it and got it lined out. And then I took this back into GPT, and I forgot to do the screen grab on this, but I took the final ad back into GPT and said, okay, here's what I came up with from all of your suggestions. What do you think? And the results, it was so cute, the little pleasantries that it does. It says, oh, you did a great job. Well done. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's just too funny that it can be that personal, but it helped me make something better that I really didn't have the mindset to do. And so you can use GPT to help you be creating what you need for your business. Again, like Frank said, even if you don't have the expertise to do it, or in my case, I didn't even have the mindset to do it, yet I knew it needed done. And so use GPT to be helping you to do the things that you know need to get done that maybe you just either don't have the time or don't have the expertise. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. If you have anything that you're working on and you just want to ask ChatGPT of like, here's everything here's everything on the sales page for the golf tournament or whatever it is. What am I missing? What am I forgetting? It'll give you some suggestions of things. Like we once did a sales page and forgot the event date on the conference. And it's kind of like, I wish we would have ran this through ChatGPT because that was a big mistake. But it's very, very helpful on double checking your work.
You know, that's a great example because we've all done projects, no matter what type of business we have, written ads or whatever, that were too close to the project. And this is an example of being able to use GPT to get it to look at it from fresh eyes when maybe you don't have a proofreader handy, or maybe it's 2:00 in the morning and you really need to have it in the inbox at 6 a.m. and you don't have anybody to look over your work. This is a great way to do that.
Good stuff. All right, moving on.
All right.
So nice work, Norma. We got amazing comments. We'll have to go back through those. Maybe you can highlight them. I just want to cover in the few minutes that we have left. We're going to go to a Q&A session here. So go ahead and be thinking about any questions you have or anything that you want to ask us while you have us here. But there's just some of these use cases that we didn't want to go in depth on, but we didn't want to miss either. So a lot of businesses that we work with, they don't have testimonials. They don't have examples of their work to where their customers are creating user-generated content. So you can have ChatGPT help us, create or get testimonials from our customers, or help us create case studies. This is where the client was. This is where they finished. Write this as a case study so that these things can go to social media. They can go on your website. There's all sorts of other things like video scripts. If you're worried about shooting a video and you don't know what to say, it will help you write a video script or a radio script or just about anything like that. And it's not just going to randomly choose things that don't work. It knows what works. It's read every book on how to write a video script. And so there's just really an unlimited number. I had to do an FAQ for a project that we had. I just copy pasted the whole sales page and put in other stuff that was part of the project and my notes and all sorts of stuff. And I said, now create a FAQ for this. And it, like, in 30 seconds, it had 6 or 8 of the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, for me just to copy paste onto the sales page. Saved me 45 minutes and a lot of brain power, So it's really unending.
Let's go back to that a little bit, Frank.
Okay.
So we've covered a lot today in all of the things that we've covered. And I just want to mention really quick, these are just examples that we've come across, but I know there are so many more that if you just think, again, like I said, out of the box, think of, well, what if this was available? Check in with your GPT or your AI to see if these things are possible, because I think it would be really surprising to you. But like he mentioned, even radio script ads, we've done that with a lot of different things that we've done. We've even written our sales pages using GPT to be able to help with that. This is just such a phenomenal tool to be able to use. And I see some great comments. One of the questions is this, they're taking copious notes and not able to catch everything. Don't worry, this is recorded. You're going to get the recording. So that's not a big deal. You can stop and pause it and listen again. And then we'll also be sending you a link. So be watching your email, because we're going to send out the handouts, but we're also going to show you the QR code, which is also going to be able to take you.
Oops, sorry about that.
Ooh, we both hit it at the same time. To be able to take you to the handouts and where this particular PowerPoint is sitting, so that you guys can have it to look over also. So we've tried to make sure that those things were available for you and not trying to make it so it's all cramped in, because we throw a lot at you and we don't want you to feel like it's a fire hose of information. So there is that.
Right. So we're going to turn our attention. I think you can leave that slide up, Norma, rather than, because some people haven't yet got their phone out to do the QR code.
Okay.
A call to action, before we get into the Q&A here, a call to action would be, if you've gotten value today, please tell your chamber that you appreciate it, that you got some ideas. And for those of you that are chamber professionals, we appreciate you partnering with us on this project. This has been great to have 500 plus small business owners all on a platform. That's a pretty good size audience for a webinar, or even in person. That would be take a big room for 500 people. So thank you all so very much. We're going to move to the Q&A, but we would definitely appreciate any testimonials. Follow us on social media. You'll find us pretty much everywhere. Norma, did you see any of the questions that you want to tackle?
I am looking at a lot of them. Also, so we're going to do a Q&A session, and I know you guys have asked a lot of questions, but if I don't get to them, because I'm going to scan through the chats, be sure to share them again and we can get to them, because we really want to help you guys to be able to be the best that you can be using these tools.
Good stuff. We tested the QR code and it works. So does anybody else having trouble with maybe you have to use the URL if for some reason the QR code didn't work for you, but we tested it. It definitely worked an hour and a half ago. So
I gotta love technology sometimes.
Very good.
And Frank, can you copy and paste the URL into the chat so they can just copy and paste it into their browsers if they need to?
I wonder if I have that up. No, I don't have that up.
Oh, I have it. I'll grab it.
Do you have it?
I do.
All right. Questions? Go ahead and type in. Because we've gotten so many comments in the thread, the questions are just kind of lost in the river of stuff. So if you have a question in particular, please post it now. I am still looking, but
yeah, there are a lot. You guys are on fire with your comments and everything. I really appreciate the feedback and the information, and you guys getting value. That is really awesome. Okay, so this one is asking, let me see if I can show this. So it says, can you take your product photos and get one of these to create a collage or other graphics? Not as easily as you would like to with the tools. Canva is opening up some options, and I had read early on that they are looking at doing an AI drop, but I haven't again been able to look through their Droptober stuff, so I'm not 100% sure. So sorry, I don't have a better answer for that one.
Here's one about creating a PowerPoint. I have tried this several times with the various AI tools, and I've yet to find one that will take or create a usable PowerPoint. I've seen some that are close, but they're not there yet. Sorry.
There's another one here where it's asking, can you use your own photos and have chat add text to it? That again it's pretty wonky, again, that tech term, on being able to get the spelling right when you're adding text to images. And so I would recommend, if you have a photo, to do that, to take it into Canva and add the text. That's a quick and easy method to be able to do that.
Here's a question about using AI to help write meeting minutes. It's not considered a best practice because minutes are legal documents. And I always recommend to chambers that you don't record the meeting with audio. You do not write down who said what. It's like I see some chambers to where the minutes, if you ever got sued, like somebody breaks a leg in your chamber, and like if you look back in the minutes where David said that there was a dangerous step, and Susie said, well, it's no big deal, and then somebody breaks their leg, you don't want, like, if you're getting sued, for somebody to have detailed minutes of your meetings. Minutes just need to be very short and sweet about we had a meeting, we had a quorum, we had a motion, we had a second, record what the motion was. We had a discussion, we had a vote. Did it pass? Did it fail? Not who voted or how they voted. And like David or Mark excused themselves from the room because they had a conflict of interest. All of those things protect the chamber, protect the board. But if you're audio recording your minutes, or you're using AI to write your minutes, that I wouldn't do that. I would just not have those out there in case somehow, some way, an attorney could ask for those minutes.
Okay, so where did it go? So this one is asking, is there a free app to start with? Yes, but you don't get all of the tools. So there's a free version of GPT 4.0, but you don't get the DALL-E 3 create images with it, but you do get the ability to ask it questions, go through the content type of things without doing the graphics. I will also warn you that with the free versions of GPT and the others, you're limited on how many times you can ask it a question, how long your thread can be, time oriented. It may say, oh, sorry, you capped out on how often, you've capped out for this time limit. You aren't available to ask any more questions till XYZ time. So those are some things to be concerned with. Canva does have a free version that you can go on, but again, it limits you the tools. And I'm not 100% sure if all the AI type graphic tools and whatnot are in the free version. So that's just something to be aware of.
Here's one about using Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI. I have tried it dozens and dozens of times. Like every day I bring up all my tabs on my browser, and it's ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini and all the other Perplexity. If you haven't tried Perplexity, that'd be one to look in there. But Copilot just, for me, doesn't produce images really great or the text as great as ChatGPT does. So yeah, co-pilots, they got all the funding in the world. They have top talent. I'm sure they will get there. They are everywhere, ubiquitous. So a lot of businesses, they're stuck with Copilot because they're Microsoft and they're gonna be everywhere. But for me, I would use ChatGPT even so. So
So speaking of that, here's a question for you on GPT also.
yeah, so it's $20 per user. Norma and I share the same account. That's probably breaking terms of service. Sorry, don't throw us in jail. There's a Teams level at $25 per person, and you get some extra features and benefits if you do that. Part of that one is that none of your stuff gets added to the library, the overall training library, automatically. With the $20 version, you just have to click the box saying, I don't want my stuff added to the library. With the Teams at 25, it's automatic. So I do recommend that you get the rest of your team using these tools and have them watch maybe this video recording so that they can start playing with it, experimenting, things of that nature. It's definitely something that you want for your entire team of anybody that's contributing in any major way.
Okay, we're having some issues with the Dropbox account.
Yeah, if you email us, we can send you. There's got to be a way. Dropbox is so simple. You don't even need a Dropbox account to download this. It's just you go to the URL or you go to the QR code. It takes you right to it, and you click on it. You download it. You don't need a Dropbox account or anything. So it should just work. But if you cannot get it to work, I'm sure we can get it to you in some other way. So email
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely. So I'm still combing through the questions.
And again, if you have any new questions or something we haven't covered, thank you all so very much for being here again. This has just been great. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you do not have to log in. Like somebody's saying about here, it's requiring a password. I went into the Dropbox in incognito mode, meaning it doesn't know me from anybody. It asked me to sign in, but I don't have to. It's like the download button is right there. So just download it. Don't bother creating an account or signing into Dropbox. Just say, give me the download. And it's like a drop down arrow on the right hand side. Oh, thank you so much, Amy. That's very nice. She says we're rock stars, Norma.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. I am putting the email address in for you guys just to email us. We will get it to you. We apologize so much for not being able to get you that link to Dropbox. We'll get you everything that you need. As far as the recordings go, Frank, when will those be available?
Immediately, just follow the same link that got you to the live. That's where the recording will be as soon as it's encoded or whatever, as soon as StreamYard uploads it. But they don't have to go anywhere else. And we're going to send a follow-up email to everybody that registered with your handouts, and that'll have a link to get you everything. So
absolutely. Yeah.
we're
So
here
again,
for you.
thank you guys so much. I don't see any other questions that we haven't answered. Super appreciative that you guys were all here today, taking time out of your day to be able to spend with us. And if there's any questions afterward and whatnot, you definitely have our email address. You can reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah. If you're in the Chamber Pros community, we'd love some feedback in there. So post in the Facebook group that you attended or your members attended. And with that, Norma, have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.